The flight attendant's regretful encounter with President Ibrahim Traoré. It was a typical morning at Ouagadougou Airport as Flight F711 prepared to depart for Paris. President Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso's interim leader, and his entourage arrived at the VIP lounge, unaware of the shocking incident that would soon unfold involving a flight attendant named Airline. The flight attendant's regretful encounter with President Ibrahim Traoré. It was a typical morning at Ouagadougou Airport as Flight F711 prepared to depart for Paris. President Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso's interim leader, and his entourage arrived at the VIP lounge, unaware of the shocking incident that would soon unfold involving a flight attendant named Airline. Airline, 25 years old with 5 years of experience, began boarding preparations alongside her colleagues at 9:30 a.m. She had worked numerous flights to Africa, but never encountered a head of state. At 10 o'clock a.m., Flight F711 was scheduled to take off, but President Traoré's arrival delayed boarding slightly. At 10:05 a.m., President Traoré and his entourage boarded the flight and were shown to their seats in first class. Airline greeted them with a brief, "Hello, sir," polite, but surprisingly informal address for a head of state. She failed to say Mr. President or acknowledge his title in any way. President Traoré's aides exchanged disbelieving glances. The president himself remained calm, but appeared surprised by Airline's casual tone. As Airline began the safety demonstration, she rushed through the instructions near President Traoré's seat, barely making eye contact. As passengers boarded, Airline checked the manifest and noticed a problem. Mr. Olivier Kamari's replacement, another top diplomat, Mr. Pierre Dupont, a white French businessman, was booked on a later flight, but needed to be on this one. Airline's supervisor instructed her to resolve the issue by relocating a business class passenger to economy. Airline scanned the cabin and approached President Traoré, seated in 3C. "Excuse me, sir. I need to request that you relocate to economy class seat 47D. We have another priority passenger who needs your seat," Airline said politely but nervously. President Traoré looked up from his reading material, expression calm and subtle. "I'm intrigued by this request. Have you asked any other passengers in business class to vacate their seats?" He replied softly, his voice firm but gentle. Airline hesitated, realizing she had only checked seats occupied by African passengers. "No, only this section, sir," she admitted nervously. President Traoré's eyes locked onto hers. "I believe this request may be motivated by something other than airline policy. Am I incorrect in assuming no European passengers were considered for relocation?" Airline's face flushed as she realized the implication: discrimination. Before she could respond, President Traoré continued calmly, "I'll remain in my assigned seat. Perhaps explore other options." Airline retreated, embarrassed and concerned. She then approached another African passenger, Mr. Sao, seated nearby, and requested he move to economy class 47D to accommodate Mr. Dupont. Mr. Sao complied reluctantly, casting a disappointed glance at President Traoré, who nodded sympathetically. The incident left Airline unsettled, realizing her actions may have been influenced by unconscious bias. The other passengers seemed oblivious to the subtle disrespect, but President Traoré's team noticed every detail. Throughout the flight, Airline's behavior towards President Traoré continued to fall short of expectations. She served him last during meal service, failed to offer extra amenities like pillows or blankets, didn't check in on him as frequently as other first-class passengers. President Traoré remained gracious and composed throughout the flight, but Airline's actions had already sparked tension among his aides. After landing in Paris at 3 o'clock p.m. local time, passengers disembarked while Airline began post-flight procedures. That's when she saw the news headlines on her phone. Burkina Faso President FLIs to Paris, disrespected by flight attendant. Airline's heart sank. She had no idea President Traoré was on her flight. Airline's eyes widened as she read the news headlines on her phone. Burkina Faso President FLIs to Paris, disrespected by flight attendant. Her mind racing, Airline felt a wave of regret wash over her. She had never intended to disrespect anyone, let alone a head of state. Panicked, Airline immediately reported to her supervisor, Madame Dupont, who was already aware of the incident due to passenger complaints and news reports. Airline, what happened? Madame Dupont asked sternly. Airline explained tearfully, "I had no idea President Traoré was on board. No one informed me of his status. I would never intentionally disrespect anyone, especially a head of state. Madame Dupont listened attentively, expression unreadable. You are lie. This is serious. The airline will investigate, and disciplinary action is likely. The next day, Airline received an official summons to the airline's headquarters for questioning. The investigation lasted several hours, with Airline repeating her explanation to various airline executives and legal representatives. Finally, the airline's CEO, Monsieur Laurent, delivered the verdict. Airline, your actions were unacceptable. However, we believe you acted out of ignorance, not malice. You will face a 3-month suspension without pay, mandatory customer service and protocol training, probationary status upon return to work. Airline felt a mix of relief and regret. Her career was not entirely ruined, but her reputation had taken a hit.
Aureli's return to work, a chance to redeem herself. 3 months passed slowly for Aurélie as she reflected on her actions and awaited her return to work. The suspension had been a difficult but valuable learning experience. Finally, the day arrived. Aurélie was scheduled to return to flight AF712 from Paris to Ouagadougou, ironically the same route where the incident with President Traoré occurred. Aurélie felt nervous but determined to redeem herself. She had completed the mandatory training programs focused on customer service excellence, protocol and etiquette for VIP passengers, cultural sensitivity and awareness. As she boarded the flight, Aurélie was greeted by her colleagues who welcomed her back warmly. The flight manager, Captain Lewis, briefed Aurélie on the passenger manifest. No heads of state this time, but several high-profile business travelers. Throughout the flight, Aurélie provided impeccable service, attentive to every passenger's need. Her colleagues noticed the positive change in her attitude and work ethic. One business-class passenger, Mrs. So from Burkina Faso, even complimented Aurélie on her excellent service, unaware of Aurélie's past incident with President Traoré. As the flight landed safely in Ouagadougou, Aurélie felt a sense of pride and redemption. She had learned from her mistake and was determined to maintain exceptional standards. The airline's customer service department received positive feedback about Aurélie's performance on flight AF712. Madame Dupont, Aurélie's supervisor, called her into the office again, this time with a smile. Aurélie, your probationary period is ending early. You've redeemed yourself and proven your commitment to excellence. Congratulations. Aurélie's career takes off again. With her probationary period lifted, Aurélie felt a huge weight lift off her shoulders. She was officially reinstated as a senior flight attendant with excellent performance reviews and renewed trust from her airline. Madame Dupont offered Aurélie a special assignment, leading a team of attendants on a diplomatic flight from Paris to Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou. Ironically, President Ibrahim Traoré would be on board again, this time for a state visit to France and then returning home. Aurélie was nervous but determined to make amends and prove her professionalism. The day of the flight arrived, and Aurélie led her team with precision and grace. When President Traoré boarded, Aurélie greeted him respectfully. "Good morning, Mr. President. Welcome aboard. We're honored to serve you today." President Traoré smiled slightly, seemingly surprised by Aurélie's transformation. Throughout the flight, Aurélie ensured impeccable service, attentive to every detail. After landing in Ouagadougou, President Traoré approached Aurélie. "Mademoiselle Aurélie, I recall our previous encounter. Your professionalism and respect today have redeemed you in my eyes. Merci."
Airline beamed with pride, feeling vindicated and grateful for the second chance. Her airline promoted her to cabin crew manager soon after, citing her exceptional leadership and customer service skills. Years later, Airline looked back on the incident with President Traoré as a turning point in her career, a difficult lesson that ultimately led to her success. Airline's legacy. Years after the incident, Airline had become a renowned figure in the aviation industry. Her story served as a testament to redemption, professionalism, and dedication. As cabin crew manager, Airline implemented rigorous training programs focusing on cultural sensitivity and awareness. VIP protocol and etiquette, exceptional customer service skills. Her airline saw significant improvements in passenger satisfaction and crew performance under her leadership. Airline also shared her story publicly, inspiring others with her journey from mistake to success. She became a sought-after speaker at aviation conferences and a mentor to young flight attendants. One day, Airline received an unexpected visit from President Ibrahim Traoré at her airline's headquarters. He had come to thank her again for her professionalism and to request her presence at a ceremony in Ouagadougou. Airline was honored as Ambassadress de l'Aviation Aviation Ambassador by the Burkina Faso government for promoting cultural understanding and exceptional service in the industry. Airline's legacy continued to soar. Her name became synonymous with excellence in aviation customer service. Her story inspired generations of flight attendants and aviation professionals. Her legacy served as a reminder that mistakes can lead to growth, redemption, and ultimate success.